In this video, you're getting 4 of the most powerful methods that we teach inside of NCI. And NCI is the foundational system that's used by military, interrogators, therapists, CEOs, hostage negotiators, even parents who are just done playing small. These 4 tools that you're about to get are going to give you immediate control over being able to read an entire room full of people in seconds. You're able to spot hidden insecurities and fears and behavioral tells, and also influencing decisions without ever feeling manipulative and walking into any situation without fear with full internal composure. What we're talking about here is not just theory. This is NCI. This is the system built on over 18 million in research, 30,000 hours of testing, and 20 years of field implementation in the highest stakes environment in the world. These are intelligence agencies, hostage negotiators, Fortune 500 boardrooms, but also moms who finally got their kids to listen, coaches who turned around broken teams, salespeople who doubled their sales in like 30 days. So you can stop being a character in your own life and start becoming an author. And what does this mean when we say author here? Essentially, there are 4 kinds of people in every room. First, you have characters, and these people are just reacting to what's happening. Then we have lead characters, and these are the people with a little more control over what's going on. Then we have main characters, and the main character is trying to stand out a lot more. And then there are authors, and the authors don't react. They don't beg for attention. They shape the frame. They shape how everyone sees reality, and they bend the outcomes. And essentially, they're installing belief in other people. They control the room, but they do it calmly. I want to be crystal clear here. Whether you realize it or not, 99% of you don't really realize there's a completely different level of reality out there. Tens of thousands of people have gone through our NCI University. They've joined our private groups. They've passed the exams. They've installed the system here. And they didn't need a psychology degree or years of failure to get there. They just needed one thing, and it's access to the system. So many people wait way too long to find out there are just 3 things that determine our outcomes in life. And the first one is observation. This is your ability to read the room, to read the person that you're talking to and actually understand what they need to hear and what they need to be seen as. Then we have communication. This is your communication methods, your linguistics, and the style of communication. This includes, can I read a person and then communicate in a certain way? And finally, we have self-mastery. This is our level of control and mastery over ourselves. And that's what truly gives you that level of confidence and authority, a couple of which we'll be talking about today. And to show you just how fast this works, I'm going to give you 4 of these core techniques from inside of one of our courses. And the first one of these, one of our clients just used last week and closed the biggest deal of his life. So let's start unlocking some of these. This first one is a formula that literally determines your level of authority in any room that you walk into. And this is where you'll want to grab a pen if you don't have one right now. So here's the formula. F equals B times C divided by N. So here we go. Influence doesn't start with cleverness. And I thought that for a big portion of my life. And I want you to be able to learn from my mistakes. Influence starts with your frame. So that's what we're talking about right here. And frame is determined by that formula. Frame equals belief times composure divided by neediness. So how strong is my belief in what's going on and my definition of reality multiplied by my level of composure and divided by how much I need from this situation. So that's how elite operators win before any words are ever spoken in a conversation. They truly believe their reality like it is the law. They hold their composure like it is just armor, and they need nothing from the room. That is true power. It's silent, it's invisible, and it's unshakable. And write this down if you're taking notes. People obey signals they can't even explain. So many people will adopt and instantly fall into your frame if your frame is really strong. And the frame is what determines who dictates what the meaning of any situation is. So let's talk about one more thing here. And this is called a status shift detection. Here's where most training, in my opinion, fails. They're teaching you what to say over and over again. They just give you a bunch of scripts. But power dynamics are already at play way before you say anything at all. And if you can't see the status map of the room in like the first 7 seconds, probably less than that, you're flying blind. So you're trying to influence people whose emotional state you can't even read. So the way that you've been taught to communicate is not just outdated, it's ineffective. So here's one of the core principles of the elite operatives that is critical to this. And I make them say this a lot. I read the room, I don't walk into it blind. So if you're the one that reads the room and you know how to set a frame, you own that reality. It is yours. And 99.9% of people pretty much walk into most situations blind because they don't have the skills of that observation. So let's talk about that observation. This one is called a micro behavior. So the quick win here is to watch someone's face when they're under pressure or they're being asked a question. If you see someone's blink rate increase, and this is how often they're blinking. So if you see somebody rapidly start blinking and they weren't doing that a second ago, if their lips tighten, if the lips kind of squeeze together, or if they touch their face, there's a very good chance that they're leaking out and trying to conceal some kind of tension or stress or insecurity. And it's not just nervousness, that is data. So that's your signal that you hold the behavioral high ground and you are starting to understand the room around you. And most people will never notice any of this. But you are probably not most people. You're learning to become an operative here. And one of the operative identity statements that I have people say on a very regular basis is influence is about detection first, not persuasion. So it's all about, can I read the room first before I start speaking? Because my observation influences my communication. The third method here is called a compliance ladder. And every conversation, I want you to start thinking of it as a staircase. And the first few steps of that, these are called micro compliance. And this is where most people actually lose control. You ask somebody to grab a pen for you. That's a step. You ask them to shift in their seat or to lean forward to look at a contract. That's a step. Or you ask a really focused question. That is a step. And before long, they're walking down a behavioral path that you designed without ever feeling pushed because the steps have been taken at the beginning. So I wish I had 3 hours to explain this to you, but what I want you to walk away here is everything is incremental. Everything when it comes to persuasion or influence can start small and then gradually increase. All right, so this next one is not going to make a ton of sense right away, but I want you to trust me for a second. So let me show you something that, in my opinion, most people are never going to understand. Words don't just communicate, they install beliefs. So I want you to try one phrase. And I wish I had a lot more time to explain why memorizing this phrase might be one of the most powerful things that you can do with this lesson that we're going through here. And I wish I had more time to talk about it and how it works inside of a human brain. But what I want you to do is try this phrase out a couple of times. And I think that once you see what it does, you're going to start using it every moment that you can. And here's the phrase. Most people are just living out stories that they didn't even write. So we talked about authors and characters and all this stuff, but this is a phrase that you'll actually say out loud. That sentence bypasses the brain's defenses and goes straight to identity. And the moment that someone realizes that they have been reciting instead of choosing their life, that's when the brain gets jolted so much that the whole script starts to rewrite itself. And the cool part is you are going to be the author who gets to write that script. And one of the core things again, that I make every operative say when they're going through my training is this one phrase here. I hand people back control that they know deep down was taken from them a long time ago. That is the truest pathway to real influence. All right, so you've made it this far, and I think this is hitting something that most courses never even touch. We've trained elite interrogators, therapists, executives, and people who never thought they'd have this kind of power. It's because influence is not just about who you are, it's about what you've been trained to see. And right now, if you're tuned in, even in your posture, your breath, the way that you're thinking about conversations coming up, something's probably already shifting. And that's not motivation, that's memory. You're remembering the version of you that doesn't freeze, that doesn't fold, and doesn't perform. I truly want to say something personal here. When I first started building NCI, I had one goal, my number one goal, and this was to create something that would end human powerlessness. And I didn't want to do it with a whole bunch of theory because I'd bought all the books, I'd seen all the courses, and I was sick of just people that were an expert in theories. I wanted to do all this with real calibrated tools that actually worked in like real life, in the field, in families, in boardrooms, in the courtroom. I didn't build this course for academics. I built it for people like you, people who are done being stuck, done reacting, done guessing how to finally take control. And over the years, we've watched thousands of people transform, not just because they became someone else, but because they finally stepped into who they always were. But I want to be completely honest with you. I have been personally dealing with a pretty serious brain disease, and I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do this work at the level that I have been. And this isn't a pitch or a guilt trip, it's just the truth. And it's changed how I think about everything, my time, the legacy I'm leaving behind, and what I still have the power to give. And that's why this video really exists. That's why I'm giving you tools that we used to kind of reserve for more advanced students, because I don't know how long I'll be here, but I do know this for sure. If what you've seen today lit something up inside of you, if a part of you knows that you're meant to operate at a different level, then this is your moment. And right now, while this video is still up, we've opened up access to the full program at a serious, heavy discount. And I've asked my team, my whole team, to personally offer one-on-one support to anybody who joins during this window. And it's normally a $1,600 course, and I'm making it $180. So my team is actually going to get with you on a one-on-one call to get you a customized roadmap to tailor all of your training exactly where you're wanting to go and what you want to achieve here with NCI. You're also going to have the exclusive live group calls to learn and implement all this. It's a customized examination that shows you how to spot what you need to keep working on. And there's even a private community where you can connect with other NCI students. There's NCI membership, there's early access, course discounts, all that kind of stuff. Because I don't want you to be stuck in inspiration. I want you to install the skills and live this transformation. So this is your moment. There's no pressure. It's just an open door. If you're ready to stop reciting these scripts and start authoring your own reality. So click below, join us inside of NCI One. We've got you covered, and I'll see you on the inside.